So that is 133 moose per year. Negative, I'm sorry, and that's important. It's a negative 133 moose per year. Number 3, what is the per capita growth rate of moose from 73 to 74? So per capita literally translates to per head, meaning per individual. And, you hear that too with like economics and such. What's the per capita gross GDP or income for a country or something like that? But we're talking about growth rate. So, just let's worry about the growth rate first. What's the growth rate of moose from 73 to 74? Okay, growth rate of moose from 73 to 74 is they went from 2,500 to 2,360. So the population went down and went down negative 140. So negative 140 is the growth rate, but the per capita growth rate is taking that growth rate and dividing by the population. Well, which population? I'm going to divide by the starting population, 2,500. So negative 140 over 2,500, my calculator. Negative 0.056 is the per capita moose per year, is the per capita growth rate. What is the per capita growth rate of wolves for that same time period? So went from 16 to 22, so that's an increase of 6. So that's my growth rate, and divided by the per capita per individual, and my starting population was 16, so divided by 16. Okay, 6 divided by 16. Positive 0.375 wolves per year is the per capita growth rate for wolves. All right, and then graph the moose and wolf populations. Just note that the y-axis has two different y-axes because the numbers are so different, right? Graphing 10 to 30 for wolves is much different than graphing the 2000s for moose. So this is just a way to get both curves next to each other. Let's go ahead and graph this. Then I'm going to go ahead and answer these questions here, looking at the curve. So the graph shows a logistic growth curve, right? Exponential growth curve would look kind of like that, where it seems to increase indefinitely. But of course, this is a situation where the carrying capacity of the field is reached, and so the curve levels off over time there. So what is the carrying capacity? It's maybe just that number or a little higher, so maybe 65, 66, something like that. I'll just put that like around 65 rabbits. What is the per capita growth rate for rabbits from August 1st to September 1st? So that'd be like from here to here. Looks like 0 or maybe 1 or something like that. Very low. Maybe around 0 to 1. Estimate R max. R is rate. And we know from, the graphs that we've looked at before that rate is the slope of a line. So how vertical, increasing or decreasing, is it? So this is going to be a positive, right? So positive slope. Negative would be if it dipped down. And so you can get rate from anywhere on here, but it wants R max. So we want kind of rate from this region here where it seems to be increasing the most. All right, so this is a tough graph to read. So R max, we can just read right off the graph there, the maximum rate of growth for this population. R max is defined, at least, maximum per capita growth rate of the population. Maximum per capita growth rate of the population. So let's see here. I am going to just take 1 week. So it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 lines between each month. So I'll call each line a week. And so let me just look at 1 week. So I'll just look at the week, first week of July. So I'm going to look at, from here to here. And it looks like we went from about 32 to about 50. If I just look at that part of the graph, 32 to 50. So that's the growth rate, and Rmax is the maximum per capita growth rate of the population. So I've got the growth rate. The growth rate is like, I'll call that 18 rabbits per week. I guess I could leave it at that, 18 per week. You could also maybe divide by 7 to get per day or something like that. I'll just leave it per week. And then the per capita is, now I have to put that over the starting population, which was 32. That's tricky. So 18 divided by 32 equals 0.56. So the Rmax is 0.56 because it's the per capita growth rate, and I'll call that per week. Again, it would be a different number if you did by day or by month or something like that. Almost done. In Mexico, what percentage of the population is between 0 and 4 years of age? Well, we have about 8% of the population that are male, about 8% of the population that are female in that age range, so 8 plus 8 is 16. In the U.S., we got less. We have about 4, about 3.5 or 4. I'll just call it 4 and 4, so we'll just say 8%. Which population is growing the fastest? Mexico's, because they have a lot of younger people. That population will move through as like kind of a bubble. You know, think about the baby boomer generation in the U.S. would look similar at that point, right? We would have had a large population at that point. That moves through. You kind of see that maybe here a little bit or here. You get these large populations that move through. United States is definitely more column shaped, right? So, all right. And which population? Yeah, Mexico. Which age group has the smallest number in both countries? You know, that 80 range. So, all right. Hope that was helpful.